We are following breaking news right now. The U.S. seizing an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela in a major escalation with that country. President Trump saying more action is coming. The video just released Coast Guard members rappelling down from a chopper, guns drawn, overtaking the massive ship. The U.S. now targeting the country's largest revenue source after months of deadly strikes on alleged drug boats. What we're learning about the operation and what could happen next. State of emergency, catastrophic floods pummeling the Pacific Northwest. Mudslides trapping cars, communities cut off as waters rush in. New evacuations underway, and the forecast has it only getting worse. Stock market surge, the Dow up nearly 500 points as the Fed cuts interest rates and suggests the economy will only strengthen in the year ahead. What it means for your wallet. NBC exclusive ICE agents raiding a house, weapons raised, detaining alleged undocumented immigrants in Minneapolis. Our reporter is there. Airport scare, a car racing down a busy airport tarmac, speeding by commercial planes. What we're learning about the driver. The measles outbreak accelerating in parts of the country. The new concerns that holiday gatherings could spread the disease. Our series, The Cost of Denial, and the one thing you might not know about how to get your rejected claim overturned. The startling video, look closely, a young boy escapes from an SUV moments after it was carjacked. Driverless delivery, a woman giving birth in the back of a Waymo, how the car handled the unusual situation. And there's good news tonight. The football star coming out of retirement. The Hail Mary play that could put this grandfather back in the NFL. Nightly News starts right now.
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Yamas.
And good evening. We begin with major breaking news and a big escalation in the U.S.'s standoff with Venezuela. President Trump announcing the U.S. has seized an oil tanker off the country's coast. New video just in tonight shows the moment a Coast Guard team arrived by chopper, rappelling down onto the tanker and then going inside, weapons raised. Attorney General Pam Bondi says the boat was used to transport oil from Venezuela and Iran in violation of sanctions. President Trump today giving little information, but saying the tanker was the, quote, largest one ever seized. The move ratcheting up tensions with the South American nation as pressure builds on the country's leader after a series of strikes on alleged drug boats off the Venezuelan coast and threats of attacks inside the country. The president today suggesting more action is on the way. Garrett Haake starts us off tonight.
Tonight, an elite Coast Guard team rappelling out of helicopters onto the deck of an oil tanker off the Venezuelan coast, executing a seizure warrant, according to Attorney General Pam Bondi, who says the tanker was part of an illicit oil shipping network supporting foreign terrorist organizations, transporting sanctioned oil from Venezuela and Iran.
We've just seized a tanker on the coast of Venezuela, a large tanker, very large. Largest one ever seized, actually. And other things are happening.
It's a new escalation in President Trump's pressure campaign against Venezuela and what he calls its illegitimate narco-terrorist regime. The president was asked about what will become of the oil aboard.
Well, we keep it, I guess.
It comes amid President Trump's war on drug cartels, sending America's largest aircraft carrier to the Caribbean and striking 22 boats the U.S. says were smuggling drugs, killing at least 86 people. The president earlier offering this warning to Venezuela's authoritarian leader, Nicolas Maduro.
His days are numbered.
Maduro today saying it's not a time for cowards, it's time for combat. President Trump also suggesting his drug war could expand to neighboring Colombia, speaking directly to that country's president.
And I hope he's listening. He's going to be next. Yes,
Mr. President.
Because we don't like people when they kill people and they sell drugs.
All right, Garrett Haake joins us now live from the White House. And Garrett, should we expect to see more of these kinds of seizures?
Well, Tom, a senior administration official tells me there are no additional warrants approved by any judge for other seizures of ships at this time, and that the final destination for this tanker's oil was unknown. Tom?
Okay, Garrett Haake leading us off tonight. There is a state of emergency in the Pacific Northwest tonight where dangerous flooding has triggered evacuations, and some parts of Washington state have already had 10 inches of rain dumped on them. Camila Bernal reports tonight from the storm zone.
Tonight, a surge of rain putting the Pacific Northwest on flood watch. Heavy rainfall from a powerful atmospheric river has 8 million under flood alerts, set to bring an additional 7 inches of rain from Washington to Montana.
Take it seriously.
Entire farms and homes, even roads, underwater in Washington state. The Skykomish River already at major flood stage, set to rise even higher. Swift water rescuers on scene this morning checking on homes. A state of emergency declared in Washington. And in Ording, officials evacuated up to 40 homes today over concerns about levees overflowing.
If you receive an evacuation order, please follow that order.
Officials say this mudslide along I-90 blocked all lanes of traffic. No injuries have been reported. As the deluge swamps the Pacific Northwest, winter weather in the Midwest causing whiteout conditions in Minnesota and slick roads in North Dakota.
I've got another rollover, same location.
Where deputies assisting an injury rollover recorded a nearly identical accident on body cam. Another car crashing and rolling over right next to the first accident. The heavy snow stranding this school bus in Minnesota. Back in Washington, 17 rivers could see major flooding this week.
The situation is extremely serious.
And Camila Bernal joins us now live from Preston, Washington. Camila, we see that river there just behind you. There are real fears about it flooding, and there's already other flooding nearby impacting nearby homes and businesses.
That's right, Tom. There is huge concern for people who live along this river and the many others across the state. In fact, the governor just activated the National Guard in anticipation to what could happen tonight and tomorrow. Tom?
All right, Camila Bernal for us there in the storm zone. The stock market surged today after the Federal Reserve cut interest rates by 1/4 point. You can see all those green arrows there. Also fueling investors was the Fed's optimistic outlook on the economy in the months ahead. Christine Romans was there for Powell's remarks. She joins us now live. So, Christine, what was the key takeaway?
Tom, Powell made clear that the Fed believes the economy is now well positioned. Its projection is that GDP growth will be 2.3% next year, and that while unemployment will rise at the end of this year, it will improve next year, and the Fed's preferred measure of inflation will come down to 2.4%. Now, that's a projection for a growing economy. Powell said largely driven by the build-out of AI data centers, a strong labor market, and falling inflation. All that news driving markets higher today. I asked Powell if today's interest rate cut would help those struggling with housing affordability, and he acknowledged there is weakness in housing and that today's rate cut is unlikely to be enough to bring relief to the housing market soon. Tom?
All right, Christine, thank you. We have a new health warning tonight. Officials across the country saying the spread of measles is now accelerating. Outbreaks forcing students to go into quarantine, and some of them for a second time. Our Emily Aketa joins us now live. And Emily, one of the most serious outbreaks is in South Carolina.
Yeah, that's right, Tom. Alarm is growing over mounting measles infections in the thick of the holiday season, as South Carolina reports more than 24 new cases just since Friday. The state's epidemiologist today blaming recent gatherings, travel, and low vaccination rates in the region, and expressing concern over the spread possibly worsening with Christmas around the corner. The outbreak forcing some unvaccinated students to sit out in quarantine of school for weeks. Across the country, there have been more than 1,900 cases this year, according to new numbers from the CDC today. That's the highest level since 1992. Health experts underscoring getting the MMR vaccine isn't just important to protect yourself, but also those like infants who can't yet be immunized.
All right, Emily, thank you for that. We have an NBC News exclusive now, an inside look at how ICE operations played out today in Minneapolis. Our cameras there as arrests were made, and officers across the city are now facing fierce backlash. Here's Gabe Gutierrez.
Tonight, ICE agents in frigid Minneapolis as they surround this home looking for a suspect charged with criminal sexual conduct. ICE says that they tried to stop an undocumented immigrant, but he ran back inside his house. They've now returned with the technical team and a warrant. Federal officers then going inside, making an arrest. Not their original target, but also undocumented, ICE says.
This is what we're sworn to do, is protect the country by removing illegal aliens.
The Department of Homeland Security says they've arrested undocumented immigrants with convictions including criminal sexual conduct with a minor, aggravated assault, and domestic violence. The operation comes after federal prosecutors earlier revealed they charged dozens of people in Minnesota's Somali community for allegedly stealing hundreds of millions of dollars in taxpayer money, including from programs meant to give meals to low-income children.
That's called the Great Big Minnesota Scam.
President Trump escalating his rhetoric against Somalia overnight.
We always take people from Somalia, places that are a disaster, right? Filthy, dirty, disgusting, ridden with crime.
ICE insists the large Somali population here is not the specific target, but the community is furious.
The mistakes of a few individuals can never be used to generalize or stereotype an entire community.
And there's also backlash against immigration agents in Boston. This sign criticizing ICE in a church's nativity scene, the diocese asking for it to be removed. While in Minnesota, we saw firsthand protesters trying to block federal officers.
What do you say to critics of ICE who say you don't always go after the worst of the worst?
I say that on top of the worst, that our job is to enforce the immigration laws. Every one of these individuals that we arrest has due process.
ICE says around 100 federal agents are now part of this operation in the Twin Cities, with more than 50 arrests just today. Tom?
Gabe Gutierrez for us. Gabe, thank you. Now to those dramatic moments in a driverless Waymo taxi, a pregnant woman giving birth inside the vehicle, which then took her and her newborn to the hospital. Here's Liz Kreutz.
Call it the Waymo baby. According to the robo-taxi company, a pregnant woman on her way to UC San Francisco Medical Center this week gave birth inside one of the driverless vehicles. The company says its remote rider support team detected unusual activity, which initiated a call to check on the passenger. It happened in a Waymo like this one. Operators from the response team then called 911 as the vehicle kept going. The company says mom and her new baby made it to the hospital even ahead of emergency services. The company celebrating the news, saying, "We're proud to be a trusted ride for moments big and small, serving riders from just seconds old to many years young." Waymo is currently rapidly expanding, more than tripling their public rides from last year. The company is also facing a federal investigation over allegations their cars illegally ran past stop signs on school buses, as seen here. Waymo said they have made software updates and safety is a top priority. And Tom, there's no word tonight on who the new mom is, but it's actually not the first time a baby was born in a Waymo. The company says it also happened in Phoenix. Tom?
That's incredible. All right, Liz, we thank you. When we return in 60 seconds, our series, The Cost of Denial. The boy experiencing dozens of seizures a day, insurance denying an expensive new medicine. His family then using a tool most Americans don't even know about to have the denial overturned. We're going to show you how it works. That's next. Welcome back. The Senate is set to vote tomorrow on a Democratic plan to extend Affordable Care Act subsidies as well as Republican alternatives. But both votes are expected to fail, which could mean health insurance premiums spike in the new year for millions of Americans. It comes as a new poll from the NBC News Decision Desk finds 24% of Americans report having a delay or denial of health care service, treatment, or medication by their health insurance company in the past 2 years. It's part of why we launched our series, The Cost of Denial. And tonight we're focusing on the legal right you have if you're denied coverage by insurance. But the majority of Americans don't even know it's an option. Here's Vicki Wynn.
Paxton Pope loves Carolina football, bird watching.
What is that?
An osprey.
And Pokemon.
Who do you play Pokemon with?
My sisters.
But the 13-year-old in Davidson, North Carolina, has struggled with his favorite hobbies, suffering developmental delays and as many as 12 seizures an hour. Finally, last year, diagnosed with a rare genetic disorder called SLC6A1.
What does it feel like when you're having a seizure?
Terrible.
We truly felt like he was slipping out of our hands.
His parents, Maggie and Grayson, learned from an online support group that a drug called Ravicti could help. Prescribed by their doctor, the drug's list price is nearly $800,000 a year. Twice, their insurance denied coverage, saying clinical studies have not proven that this drug is safe and effective for treatment of your child's condition.
Every time I saw a seizure, a little piece of my heart would break. It's debilitating to watch someone you love come in and out of cognition and reality.
Did the anger grow when you learned there was a medication that could help him and that you were being denied access to it?
Yes. To know that there's something out there that can help and then to not be able to get it it can make you frustrated for sure.
But the Popes found a Hail Mary at the bottom of their second denial letter. 6 words that changed everything. You can have an external review.
The Popes had never heard of this process, and a recent survey shows most Americans haven't. But it's a consumer protection under the Affordable Care Act that says you can take your case to an independent review organization at no cost to you. Then a medical expert not employed by the insurance company makes a final decision.
You'd be surprised how much help you can get from a Department of Insurance.
North Carolina's Commissioner of Insurance, Mike Causey, says 282 cases have undergone a review this year through the state's Smart NC program. More than half resulted in denials being overturned.
Why doesn't the insurance just cover what it's supposed to?
I think one of the reasons is the tremendous amount of insurance fraud. So the companies have to be, very cautious, but at the same time they make mistakes.
For the Popes, the external review found Ravicti was proven safe and effective for Paxton's underlying disease.
Relief and validation were the first things that came to mind, along with some of the disbelief that it actually worked, that it was overturned.
You ready?
Yeah.
After 2 months on the meds, Paxton's parents say his seizures went from more than 100 a day to about 8. This year, for the first time, he was able to play on the school football team. And while they'll never know the identity of the doctor who reviewed their case, they are deeply grateful.
I would get up and give him a really big Southern girl hug. You saw the person behind all of the data, and you gave him a chance.
It's a nice throw, buddy.
And Vicki joins us now live in studio. Vicki, this is such helpful information.
Yeah.
So anyone can try an external review, and it's in every single state?
Yeah, that's right, Tom. It is your legal right to request this review, and the chances are high that it benefits you. We checked around the country in California, Utah, and Pennsylvania, for example, and we found more than half the time the review goes in favor of the patient. Tom?
More than half the time.
Yeah.
That's great news. Okay, Vicki, we thank you for that. We're back in a moment with a close call caught on camera, how a little boy escaped a carjacking. Plus, the car speeding down an airport tarmac, halting flights at a busy airport. We'll tell you what happened. Stay with us. We're back now with a daring escape caught on camera that we want to show you. This video shows a 10-year-old boy in Louisiana jumping from a moving car that was stolen while he was in the back seat. The boy's mother told our New Orleans affiliate WDSU the carjacking happened while she was inside a store and that she heard her son screaming. Police say the boy was not injured and the suspect, you see him here, has been arrested. In California, another frightening car incident. Video captured this car, you see it here, speeding down a busy tarmac at John Wayne Airport, zooming past multiple planes as frightened onlookers screamed at the driver to stop. The airport says the driver, who's a security guard there, was experiencing a possible medical emergency and was later taken to the hospital. In other news, Beyoncé heading back to the Met Gala, one of fashion's most iconic nights after a decade away. But this time, she's returning as co-chair alongside Venus Williams, Nicole Kidman, and of course, Vogue's Anna Wintour. The 2026 theme is costume art. Okay, when we come back, on Monday, he was a high school football coach. Will he be a starting NFL quarterback by Sunday? 8-time Pro Bowler Phillip Rivers is back in Colts blue with another shot at glory just days after he turned 44. That story next. Finally, there's good news tonight for NFL fans. Legendary quarterback Phillip Rivers, who is now a grandfather, is on the verge of a comeback. Here's Jesse Kirsch.
Tonight, what's old is new again. Legendary NFL quarterback Phillip Rivers coming out of retirement, joining the Indianapolis Colts practice squad at age 44.
I'll try not to get emotional, actually.
Rivers, an 8-time Pro Bowler, last played for the Colts in January 2021. Since then, the father of 10 and grandfather has started coaching high school football.
I wasn't really hanging on any hope of playing again. I'd kind of thought that ship had sailed.
But this week, after Colts starting quarterback Daniel Jones suffered a season-ending injury, Rivers got an invite back to the pros.
It's been a whirlwind of 48 hours, I'll say. But each moment that goes by, I feel more and more confident.
When Rivers first joined the NFL in 2004, Patrick Mahomes had just turned 9. Friends had just aired its finale, and Mark Zuckerberg launched an online experiment called Facebook. Now the veteran QB's an underdog, grateful for another chance to live out his dream.
If it's over tomorrow, then will you be glad you went through all this? Heck yeah, it was awesome.
For now, we're talking about practice. But if Rivers plays Sunday, he'd be the NFL's oldest active player.
It's kind of one of those deals, the door opens and you can either walk through it and find out if you can do it or run from it. Only way to find out is going for it.
Jesse Kirsch, NBC News.
Hope we see him Sunday. All right, that's Nightly News for this Wednesday. I'm Tom Yamas. Thanks so much for watching. Tonight and always, we're here for you. Good night. We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.